Hi everyone, happy snow day. I usually don't share like safety tips or anything. This one is near and dear to my heart because we had like an accident with my son not a couple years ago, like a year and a half ago. However old Abby is. Abby was like 3 weeks old. But I'm seeing some like really awesome fun videos of people sledding and it's making me a little nervous. And so I just wanted to share on here. I highly recommend sending your child down on a sled by themselves, or if they're too afraid to go by themselves, letting that be maybe their sign of, hey, maybe I'm not ready to do this. And do not put a child in your lap and sled down with them on your lap. Maybe there's some exceptions to this. Maybe there's some sleds where there's enough room or like the way you have them positioned. I wouldn't do it though. So I saw a video on this. It came back to my memory when it happened to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I saw someone on Instagram talking about this. It's more in relation to slides, but I think that sledding is the same. It's the same risk. When Abby was like 3 weeks old, I was on a field trip for the preschool, and Isaiah, there was this like really cool slide. We were at this farm and we were doing this farm tour and all this really fun field trip. It was amazing. All the parents were standing around talking. It was great. There was the big like tube slide, like the black like bumpy slides, you know what I'm talking about. And Isaiah really wanted to go down, but he was afraid. And I was chatting with a parent, and like Frank was supervising him, and anyway, it was decided that Frank was going to go down the slide with Isaiah on his lap. So he went down the slide, and when they got to the bottom, I heard Isaiah start crying, and I immediately, like, even now, like, oh, it makes me want to cry. I immediately knew, like, he's really hurt. Like, you know, your kid's cries where it's like, oh, like I fell, versus like, oh, something is wrong. So Frank like kind of wanted to console him, and he came back and he said, I think we need to go to the hospital. So anyways, he broke his leg. He's okay now. Like, he's literally playing in the snow. That was like one of the hardest things that ever, like, honestly, I'm like, it's one of the hardest things I've ever been through in my life, because he was in so much pain, and I was like, oh my gosh, I wish, like, this is such an easy mistake. You don't know what you don't know. And then I remembered when that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, I saw someone on Instagram say never go down a slide with a child on your lap. Frank was like, I didn't know that. And I was like, I did. So I feel like it's my fault. Like, I should have stopped you, or like, anyway, we learned from that. We will never. And even if I see people at parks, I'm like, or you know, at our preschool, or if we go on field trips, like it's a strong rule for me. I'm like, we don't allow that. But I do recommend, and it is one thing that I'm not usually like the car seat patrol or the like, this is how you keep your babies safe. But I wanted to share that because I am seeing videos of like parents sledding with children in their laps. So it's a really common thing. It's a really common thing, but I don't want it to happen to anyone else. So what happened was when, let me see if I can prop my phone up on my window. When they were going down the slide, right? Like, say this is the parent and this is the child. Well, let's do two because this is legs. Okay, track with me here. This is the parent, this is a child. They're going down the slide. Okay, at the very end of the slide, his leg went under, but the force of the adult still going forward, his leg broke. They called it, like, the doctor was like, oh, this is a typical textbook. It's called a toddler fracture. And they're like, it happens going down slides or sledding, you know, things like this. It's very common. Anyway, this is getting long. This is just my warning. If you see this, if you're gonna go sledding, that's getting late today or tomorrow. If your child is like, I really want to go down the hill, but I'm too afraid, be like, either you go down by yourself or you don't go at all, but you can't go on mommy or daddy's lap. I think one of my kids is about to come in. Or even a sibling's lap would maybe be not as risky. I still wouldn't do it. I still wouldn't do it. So you might already know that. You might be like, oh yeah, I would never do that, Mary. Or you might be like, wow, I never thought about that. Thank you so much for sharing. And that's me being vulnerable of like, hey, this is like, this was a big, you know, yeah, I mean, it was a mistake. Obviously we weren't like trying to hurt our child, but when you know better, you do better. So now we never, ever, 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 ever go down a slide with a child in our lap, and never will again. And if I am at a park that you are at, I will be like, don't do it. That's how my son broke his leg. Like, it was awful. He was in a cast. Like, he's okay. Hey, Abby. I think Abby's trying to get in the door. Anyways, don't put a child on your lap while you're going sledding. Have fun. Be safe. Enjoy the snow.